This is a video a few of you have been waiting for. Yeah, hell yeah, we got that Poulan 455 running. I love it. But I'm not going to run that with the mufflers on there, and I'll tell you why. I would start that for this video. I'm going to need a little time for this video, number one. And I want to get the pipe built because the mufflers on that is absolute crap. It leaks, and I started it and run it just a little bit, but you can't whack them, when you know you got an air leak. Or you shouldn't, Bad enough things happen. Okay, the first thing is layout. You want to build a muffler for your saw? I'm going to tell you how you do it. Get a new gasket for your saw. This happens to be for 372. I'm going to build a few just for 372. We're doing some prototype stuff. We're doing some new things. But I'm going to show you the trick on building my design muffler. I know it works. It's simple. It's easy. You can adapt it to most saws fairly readily, honestly. Okay, first thing is, how in the world do you get that cut out without having a major bunch of shop tools? Well, I'm going to show you. First thing is, you need to know what the radius of your corners are. Okay? Now, just so I didn't have to fumble around on video, this is a 3/8 drill bit. It just happens to be. Now, those of you that are machinists or in the know that this will cut slightly bigger than the round part. We don't care. We're only trying to build a muffler. So what we're going to do is take that round part of that 3/8. Whatever the radius, figure that radius, whatever you're willing to deal with. I could be 5/16 if I wanted to. I could do a 1/4 inch if I wanted to. But 3/8 seems to fit that for my needs quite nicely, So what we're going to do is you got to have a plate that mounts to your saw. Use, in some cases, sticker's a little better. Don't be afraid of 1/8 inch. Just don't. 3/16, whatever you got. Now, I'm going to show you on stainless steel just because it shows up better. And what we're going to do is I'll show you a couple little tricks that I use. I'm going to get you where that, I got you straddling all my pipe. Okay, I'm going to make a few of these. First thing I want to do is make sure that I got all the stuff off of this. This just happens to be a scrap from another project I had. Yeah, we got our MIG gas finally. Got some MIG wire. I'll show you that all in a minute. But first, lay your gasket down. Okay? You can take advantage of that corner, I always make them slightly bigger than the gasket anyway. But if you hold that and just kind of scratch with your little Sharpie, if you want to get a little bit more accurate, what you're going to do is cut this out with your jigsaw. So we're going to go around it. Don't move that gasket around if you can help it. Now this just shows me where my gasket is. Okay. Okay, now we know that Sharpie, I smudged it, isn't that funny? But that doesn't matter. Half of 3/8 is what you want. It's 3/16 in this case. I'll tell you what you're doing. I can eyeball a darn thing because I've done so darn many of them. But what you're doing is you're using your scale and you're marking 3/16. Now I'm going to the outside of my line because I know that's where that it is. And I go one. There's 3/16 outside. 3/16. I'm going to do the same thing here. Don't be afraid to get your distance spread apart just a bit. It's not going to hurt a thing. 1, 2. So I'm using the edge of my ruler. And I'm going way off from my gasket. There's my 3/16. Now what I do, I bisect my lines. Those of you that are carpenters will grab this in a second. You'll run with it. There's one. See my dots way up here. Right where them 2 points land, you know, you lay all of them out, but where them 2 points land, center punch that. After you center punch that, drill it with a 3/16 or quarter or whatever, and then go through and drill it with your 3/8. Okay? And then you're going to take your jigsaw that everybody owns, and you're going to cut the inside of that out. Okay? So you'll get a hole in 4 corners, and you're cutting between the holes. Okay? Then the drill bit makes your radius, but you're cutting between your holes. Okay? And then, of course, even though I smudged that one, that hole center's right there. I'm drilling them holes 5/16. I could do it quarter, but I'm going to drill them, for this case, 5/16. Okay? Now, when you get done, after you got your holes drilled and you got this cut out, work on your main piece of metal as long as you can. Once you got that all taken care of and your holes drilled and your center cut out, what you'll do is you go right around the outside with your jigsaw and you'll cut that off. Take your Dremel, because I know you got one. If you don't, just use a file. Get rid of all them edges and dress that up where it's kind of pretty. And make sure it's not sticking out past your gasket. You can be away from your gasket slightly. It'll be just fine. And that's the trick. This is real easy, guys. This is real easy. Now, what we're going to discuss is pipe sizes. Okay. I happen to have a few sizes here on the bench that I use quite commonly. That's about 7/8 ID. Maybe not quite. It's 1 inch OD. So it's supposed to be 7/8 because this is 16th wall. For the 372, you can use this pipe. You can use this pipe. You can do whatever you want to. Build yourself a drift that fits on the inside of your pipe. I'm going to try to find my drift here, and hopefully I got it. Okay, this is my drift for the 372s. Just a pair of 3/4 welded together. And at least I think that's what it is. It's 5/8, I think. I'll tell you when you're blind. Yeah, this is 5/8. Okay, but this works for me. See, what I did was I ground. You could take a solid piece of metal or anything you could find. Probably solid metal's fine better, but I did this one in just a real quick fashion. See how I ground the edges all the way around? That's just so that drift, when it starts in my pipe, what I do is I'll hammer this flat and I'll start my drift in. Probably would be nice if I just sat up and did that. Same thing with your pipe. I'll use a little piece about yay long. That's what I'll start with. That's an accurate measure yay long is, isn't it? Because and it's nice to have heat. I mean, quite honestly, you got a little heat with your torch, you can do a better job. But if you got the thin wall stuff like this is, you don't need the heat. But if you use this thicker stuff, see the difference? You'll need heat for the thicker, trust me. And you'll have more problems with it. Try to get this thin wall stuff. You can always, so you just use what you can use. This isn't real hard to do. You already know how to do this now. Let me get my block of wood, and I'll show you what the deal is. Now this piece of pipe was cut just a little crooked. You can see it kind of leans like that. So I'm going to make that an advantage. You're going to lay out and mark where your center is, but it doesn't matter. Because what I do, quite frankly, to know how much up or down or level I want, I just grind this. I grind this surface after I got it square. So let's make this square for 372. And I'm going to bang you around, so go for the ride. You can see why you need a drift already, huh? Starting to become square. Whenever you get that little divot in there, just take your pliers, go back a little ways. See, you get some of that out. See, we're just hammering the square. This isn't really. It'd be nice to have a machine shop to make these, then you can make them fast. See, we're already started square. But for that to fit, we got to make this drive in there. See, we're still a little ways off. So, see, gotta get a little further. We should be getting a little closer. That actually probably would work. Right there. See that? I didn't mean to do that, guys, but believe it or not, that would work. My gasket covers that. But, so, the drift will be lost on you on this one. But now that I dropped the darn thing, I'm going to grab that, and I'll oh, here it is. All I'm going to do is just tap that in there. Just get her started. Okay, see that come out nice and square, didn't it? Yep. And so, I mount my plate on my saw body, hold this up to it, and I have to determine with this pipe, because you know the way I build them, the pipe, it comes out, so you cut that piece about yay long, and that piece about 3.5, 4 inches, and I always cut them just a whisker long when I need to. Sometimes I don't need to. But you can grind these surfaces to get whatever angle you want. For a 372, I want it just about that angle. This is representing your cylinder. Just about that angle. So I'll go ahead and would grind that. Deburr it real good. You don't want metal in your saw. And I'll weld that to that plate. Okay? Once I got that welded to that plate, that tells me where I need to be. Now you're fitting this together. You want to clear your chain brake and your dogs and everything for this style pipe to exit out over the chain side cover. So you want to do that. What we're doing is you take your little scale. I like scales on my bench. Honestly, really do. So, let's say that I've decided that I want the center of that at 3¼ inches. Okay, I'm going to go to 3¼ inches. Okay. And I'm going to use this size pipe. I'm going to cut it off about yay long so it exits over. Okay. I'll cut that at 4¼ inches. Okay. That would be my cutoff mark because I'm coming back 1 inch with the center of that, okay? At that point, you'll transfer that line right around. Okay, so there's where I'm cutting it when I decide to cut it. The first thing I'm going to do is I need to drill a hole. If you got inch bits, you did good. If you got 3/4, just get whatever you can and finish off the rest of the hole with your Dremel. Okay, you need the hole in this pipe. You need that. I like to get them up just a little higher than center, and I like them to sit just about that angle, okay, and going over that chain side cover. So, I'm just going to rough draw one right here, okay. So you would bore your hole, put your pipe on there. You're going to grind this to where that it matches the radius of the pipe. So you just get it over here somewhere, and that ain't going to weld on there like that. If you can get a 15/16 drill bit, you do it. If you got inch, do that. It don't matter because you're welding. You get that where that fits on there. This radius matches. Bolt that piece on your saw. Make sure that you know where your chain, brake, and everything is you're trying to clear. Because you can adjust this pipe around just a little bit to suit your needs. And then all you do is take another little piece of this metal. I'm going to draw it out for you. You just go around it. And you're going to cut one of them out. And you're going to grind that down. And after you cut your pipe, you're going to take that plug and you're going to weld it right here to close that off. What makes this type of muffler work is the exhaust has got room to come out. It slams up against the end. It starts back. This is to bleed the pressure off. If that was at the end, that'd work different. This actually is a very effective, very, very simple muffler to build. It really is. This is not hard. This muffler adapts to many chainsaws. Like I said, just get the piece of pipe that you can work with. You can see that if, like I said, if that's thicker than that'll work beautiful. But if it's thicker than this, it's too thick to actually do what I did, you might have to use some heat. And don't be afraid to. What's important, whatever you make your drift of, make it where it nicely slides right. See, I got just the taper in there. It don't slide all the way in. See? You see what it does? The only place I really care about it is where it first goes in. That's what my taper does. You can do it a longer taper if you feel like. It doesn't matter. But you need to build a drift. That or you get lucky like I just did. You can tweak these things around with a pair of pliers. If you don't want to take the time to build a drift and you know you can do this because you've done similar things. I mean, I just showed you just because I built quite a few of these already. So it just happened to be I come to square. And I run the drift just to as an example. So I hope this helps you with this. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try, see if I can find a stock muffler, put on this Poulan. I really, really love you to hear it. This is a very, very nice build. There's more to the story than meets the eye. You know that. Let me try to bring you up to speed. I'm really quite excited about this saw. The condition of this is just amazing. Better than you normally see. I like everything about this saw, quite honestly. It took building beautifully. It really did. But there's a couple things I'm going to share with you. Like I said, I told you I wouldn't share what I wasn't positive of. One thing I did find out. Now, you know, we got them at Mako 500 and Honda CR 500. Well, the CR 500 has got V-Force 3 reed cage in it. It had the original V-Force, just plain V-Force reed. Well, we bought reeds for it, but we had a bad cage, wouldn't seal. So what I did, that's carbon fiber. And I took that center reed, which means I can do 3 more because there's 4 reeds in them, not just 2, there's 4. I took that center reed and I traced my factory reed, which I think I put that in my bucket and set it on the shelf for Pioneer parts. This was a little thinner. But most importantly, the factory reed in these saws is I found to be too stiff. But it's made of a fiberglass material, an epoxy. When you thin them far enough to where they work properly, what I've ran into is the darn things want to break. They'll run like, you get them where they run real good and then they break. But this saw, when you hear this run in a minute, has got carbon fiber reed that I made in it. Just the center pedals all. And it really seemed to be really a nice fit. It really did. I suppose that if you just got replacement reeds for probably a snowmobile or anything that's carbon fiber, this is 19 thousandths thick, okay? I just wanted you to know that. You know what? Let me make sure that's what it is. I'll tell you exactly what the thickness is, because you might want to know. You really might. That reed's too thick. They don't run right. They don't want to turn up good. I mean, they'll turn up, but zero that out. It's exactly 20 thousandths. Exactly. So, but it's a lighter reed. It moves initially just real easy to a certain point, and then it gets a little stiff. So that's the reed that's in this. I just wanted you to know that. Now, I had this running a few minutes ago. I had to have some gum. It scared me, actually, because what I did is I pulled the choke, pulled it once, and it started, so I put the choke in and set there idling. Let's see if it'll start without the choke. something. Well, that reed is right for the saw. I'm not even going to consider putting another reed in it, because I'll tell you right now, them boys in two-stage do not run better than this. They don't. They really don't. This is it. And I'll tell you why I know that. I got oil all over. Is this thing will come to its peak RPMs with no load. We've built two for bucking, and both of them have to have a load to come to peak RPMs. This one don't. But there's more to it than just that. I worked with the factory carburetor on this. I'll tell you straight out I did. When you look inside that choke, you see where it's no check down. That's a Venturi. It's quite small in this saw. I went in there very carefully with a Dremel, and I opened that up to the size that I wanted from a measurement. Don't take it all out. I'll warn you, you won't get flow. But what I did is we increased airflow massively with the port work. You know that. Our exhaust timing is 97. That is 97 is where it opens. And we got our transfer timing is 25 degrees later exactly. It is perfect for me. I'm so happy with this build. This will run whatever RPM bucking wants to run. It'll run it. I'm going to tell you right now. You want it to run at 13,000, it'll run 13,000, and it'll live there. The piston don't weigh much. It's got boost ports. It's got everything going for it. This saw is going to be better than the other two for runability. I know that. And I'll tell you where my clue came with. Bucking was telling me privately, he says, well, you know that P51 is just plain bare, boy, but it's not good for lemon. No, Bucking, it ain't, is it? Not that saw. That's a bucking saw. Pure, simple. You can drop trees with it. But it isn't until that we get to a certain point with these saws do we actually know what we're doing. This is only my third one I ever built. You might just as well call this a Pioneer P45. That's all it is. It's rebranded. This was made in 1988 only. They were just bought out. I think it was a year previous or two, maybe. Right in there somewhere. You guys that are historians know better than me. I just build them. I don't worry about facts. I'm not a history book guy as much as I am. What am I seeing and what do I want to do about it? But both of the Pioneer builds that I've sent him so far are a little quirky. Some of that's numbers, some of that's reed balance, some of the carburation choices, what fits, what don't, what do you got to do about it. I decided that I wanted to send him the best damn saw I possibly could. I want a balance between real good horsepower, not just a little bit, but a lot. Ring right out hard, easy to start, no messing around. Just jump in and hit the frickin' playground. That's what I wanted. And I did it. And I know I did it. Now we got to build a pipe. And I'm going to do it. As soon as we get that done, I'll show you. I'll share a few more pipes that I'm building. I will. As soon as we get them built. I've been sitting on Hogan's 2511T. That little Echo. That's been done a month. I'm piping it. Yep. That'll be the first one on YouTube piped, won't it? That's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because Hogan really deserves something really cool. And he's going to get it. I've had his saw a dang year, or nearly. And I went through a lot trying to build that. It wasn't till... the fourth time I had that apart 4 times. I got where I can take them saws apart. Boy, that first time, I said I'm never doing one again. Okay, thank you for showing up. I'll see you later. Goodbye.